Can you feel that tension building in the air, Montreal? That undeniable, almost palpable sense of something big brewing within the Canadiens organization? Just when we thought the off-season dust had settled and the focus would shift purely to the ice, a bombshell drops from one of the most trusted voices in the Habs universe, confirming what many of us have suspected, but few dared to utter with such certainty. We're talking about a seismic shift on the blue line, a crowded defensive core that simply cannot sustain its current configuration. Eric Engels, the insider we all lean on for the pulse of this team, has just revealed what we've been waiting to hear. He'd be shocked if one of a specific trio of defensemen isn't moved in the very near future. This isn't just speculation anymore. This is a declaration, a stark reality check that promises to reshape the Canadiens' defensive identity heading into what promises to be a tumultuous, yet incredibly exciting season. But the drama on defense isn't the only story captivating the attention of the Canadiens' faithful. Oh no, not by a long shot. Today, we also need to talk about the electrifying performance of Michael Hage, who absolutely lit up the World Junior Summer Showcase with a 2-point outburst for Team Canada Red against Team White. His silky assist was a thing of beauty, a testament to the raw skill and offensive dynamism that has everyone buzzing about his future. And if that wasn't enough to get your heart racing, imagine this. Nick Suzuki, Ivan Demidov, and Patrick Laine, all on the same line, weaving magic in a little 3-on-3 tournament. The chemistry they showed was immediate, intriguing, and has fans already dreaming of some truly wild line combinations. This is the kind of tantalizing glimpse into the future that makes you believe the Habs rebuild is not just on track, but accelerating at an exhilarating pace. There's a bunch of great stuff coming up on this episode of Habs Digest, and you know what? We'll start right there, with that incredible visual from the LSHL, a fun tournament making waves in Montreal right now. In a recent game, we saw the likes of Suzuki, Laine, Demidov, Alex Kerfoot, and Laurent Dauphin all on the ice, creating a truly cool spectacle. But the undeniable standout, the moment that truly set the hockey world abuzz, was Nick Suzuki, Ivan Demidov, and Patrick Laine playing together, orchestrating a silky passing play that went viral. While there have been other clips from practice and informal skates, this particular sequence had everyone talking. And let me tell you, the immediate reaction was swift and passionate. I'm already seeing people, you the passionate fans, saying, Jesse Hayes, Suzuki, Demidov, and Laine would be a sick line. Now, I think that's pushing it a bit far to say that would actually be a line this year. We've talked extensively about the potential of Suzuki, Caulfield, and Slavkovsky as the top unit, and that remains a strong possibility. However, one thing this incredible display is unequivocally reinforcing for me is the sheer depth of pure skill and talent we now possess in our top 9 forwards. This means that if Martin St. Louis wants to, we can interchange a multitude of players, afford to run with a bunch of different, interesting ideas at our forward positions, and truly keep opposing teams guessing. That's what's so great about the Montreal Canadiens right now. You're seeing chemistry not only within established lines, but from players across lines in informal settings. That's when you know that the whole team is truly coming together, building a collective identity and a shared vision. And again, the opportunities that this newfound depth and versatility are going to give Kent Hughes going forward are just absolutely unreal. As we saw from the clips, Laine was absolutely feasting out there. He's got 2 amazing playmakers in both Demidov and our captain, Suzuki, just setting him up all over the ice. But again, while I don't think it's going to change that first line, it just really shows how all these players are going to play together at some points in different iterations. You'd have to think, especially on the power play, with some injuries inevitably coming in throughout the season, that big question of who takes the PP1 spot, Caulfield or Laine, is going to be front and center. Some people have been saying Caulfield was a lock, but I think Patrick Laine might have heard that. He's like, okay, no, let me get in the ring. Nobody's taking my spot on the power play, because that's where I live and breathe. That's his bread and butter, and he knows it. So, it's incredibly nice to see Patrick Laine making his audition right now for that PP1 with all the work he's putting in during the offseason. I absolutely love it. It's even more impressive when you consider that just today, Josh was continuing to see clips where Patrick Laine was setting up Demidov again, working on one-timers together. It's truly amazing that we have this group of young, skilled players, but even more so that they are actively coming together, practicing, and putting in that work off the ice well before the season officially begins. This commitment, this dedication, really just speaks to the amazing things that are brewing right now in Montreal. And that's not even mentioning that we haven't seen a ton recently from Kirby Dach or Alex Newhook, two other incredibly talented forwards who will be crucial to this team's success. There are so many amazing storylines heading into this season, and just seeing these guys voluntarily put in the extra effort is just one of many. So, let us know your thoughts on this down below, and what you've been seeing from practice if you haven't had a chance to catch it. There are a lot of fun dangles, with Ivan Demidov even bullying a goalie, scoring on him every single time at the end of the most recent practice. But again, it's not just the current Habs, Jesse, that are putting in a bunch of work. As we know, the World Junior Summer Showcase is going on right now, and the Canadiens have 4 promising prospects featured. Laine Hutson, Jacob Fowler, and 2 guys on Team Canada, Michael Hage and Owen Beck. And actually, as of the recording of this video, it's Team Canada versus Team Finland, with Michael Hage playing on the second line alongside Michael Misa and Caden Lindstrom, a truly talented trio. We might be talking about that game tomorrow, but for now, Jesse, we just had to show the incredible skill Michael Hage put on display in the Team Canada Red versus White game yesterday. He was also on the second line there, picking up 2 points. The first play was a beautiful goal, a nice little tuck in tight, showing great puck tracking. Then he delivered this sick backdoor pass that led directly to a goal. Michael Hage, again, on the second line in the Red versus White game. The top line featured Sasha Barkov, Berkeley Catton, and Porter Malone, all high draft picks. But you also had 2025 draft-eligible Cole Yzerman and Benjamin Gaudreau along with Hage. It's just really cool, Jesse, to see not only is Hage here and making a pretty significant impact, but this guy is pretty high up in the lineup considering that, for example, in the game being played right now, the top line has McKenna on it. But you can see the number 1 center from under 20 White and the number 2 center from under 20 White and the number 2 center from under 20 Red. Those are the 3 guys playing on the line, and Michael Hage is one of them today. I'm absolutely loving what I'm seeing from every single Habs prospect so far at this showcase. Yeah, they're all showing up, whether it's Hutson, obviously Owen Beck, or our boy Hage here. I love to see him go to the net, and obviously he's setting things up here. It really speaks to the immense potential that Hage has, the fact that he's centering a line with 2 potential future 2CS, playing 2C for Team Canada, centering 2 guys that were selected in the top 5 in Caden Lindstrom and Michael Misa. So, again, it begs the question, did we get a little bit of a draft steal here with Michael Hage? Because, I mean, all signs right now are showing that he's that difference maker that I think Team Canada probably needed last year. I think having a Gavin McKenna on this team will certainly help, but Hage is going to help this team a lot at the World Juniors. I thought it was only right that he would be invited this year, and obviously he's making the most of this opportunity right now. And exactly like what we see at Michigan, him becoming the guy, kind of like the difference maker in all of this, is really so huge. The reason for him being that difference maker again, Josh, is we know the skill that Michael Hage possesses. It's really apparent for him. He loves to own that puck in the offensive zone, be extremely dynamic there. But the big thing is, especially in interviews, he keeps mentioning that he wants to bring that intensity to the game right from the start. So, when you can combine that pure skill with that relentless intensity, that wherewithal to really just do whatever needs to be done out on the ice, it's really just getting me that much more excited for Hage. Which, Josh, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I think Hage will play a game next year with the Montreal Canadiens. I think he's going to be ready at the end of the NCAA season. Once his collegiate career is done, I think he's going to get called up and get a chance to play a couple of games like Demidov did last year, like Hutson did the year before. And again, it's just going to speak to how we keep reinvigorating our team with these amazing prospects getting them that opportunity, that experience, to help them take that big leap the next year. I like that bold take, because again, the center situation is not super clear as we head into the end of next year. It could be Joel Armia, it could be Owen Beck, it could be Oliver Kapanen on that fourth line, maybe it's Jake Evans, maybe we trade for someone, maybe Alex Newhook goes back to center. But that picture is just going to get clearer as the year goes on. And if there's a situation where, hey, our fourth line center is doing solid, but we're not super sure, there's a world where that could happen, especially heading into the playoffs. I mean, we've seen a guy like Cole Caulfield come in at the end of a season and make an immediate impact in the playoffs. Who knows? If Michael Hage has a dominant year, he might just force himself onto the roster. But what do you guys think? Has Hage been impressive so far? He certainly was last year at Michigan, and hopefully this year at Michigan too. Let us know your thoughts down below, because he is honestly, I'm super excited. He's one of the most exciting Habs prospects out there for sure. But the final and perhaps most pressing thing we need to get into, Jesse, is again something back on the current team. If I show these lines again, we've talked a lot about the defensive pairings, because obviously with the Jayden Struble signing, we've discussed that and how Struble and Justin Barron and how this is going to shake out. But the one conclusion that we have all reached, that pretty much everyone has said, it's obvious just looking at it. Someone's got to move, and Eric Engels on the Sick podcast just recently had a very interesting quote about it. He said, between those three guys, Mike Matheson, Jayden Struble, and Arbor Shakaj, there's a good chance that between now and this time next year, one of those guys is not here. It's something that we've all figured, but Eric Engels, hey, look, he's tuned in, he knows what he's doing, he's a Habs insider, and he has this information. I think it's absolutely the right take, because it's tough. It's so obvious to say, hey, Mike Matheson makes the most sense to trade because he is on an expiring deal. Though, to be fair, so is Arbor Shakaj, but I think he's an RFA at the end of it anyway. Whatever, Matheson's got the bigger cap hit. Matheson is the guy that maybe doesn't fit that third pairing role as much, so naturally he's the guy fans are clinging onto. But again, the fact that those three guys are named, it's not just... Yeah, I think someone like a Matheson will be moved. Shakaj and Struble are right in this conversation too, Jesse. And I think it just shows you that it's more intense than we thought coming into training camp and coming into the first couple months of the season. These guys are quite literally going to fight, not for their career. It's not like they won't get a chance somewhere else, but to show that they're worth staying in this organization that we've seen. I think a lot of people want to stick around. We have one of the best organizations right now in the NHL in terms of team culture, coaching, and the players' camaraderie, all this stuff. I think these guys want to stick around, but there's simply not enough room for all of them. What do you make of this? I mean, I still think Matheson is the most likely to be moved, but I find it interesting that those other two guys are looped in there as well. I find that this situation is even more pressing than what Eric Engels suggests, because he's saying that we need that in a year from now, that next year we're not going to have one of them. I'm talking about this season and this year coming up, because as we've mentioned here on the show, we've got four guys now battling basically for one spot that's in contention. Two of those guys are for sure NHLers in Struble and Shakaj. And another one is a very highly touted prospect in Justin Barron. He's going to get his, as well as Matthias Norlinder, who's just showing all signs that he's going to be ready for the NHL like any day now, not next year, but this season. These players, again, we're going to need to figure it out, because the way we have it right now is like either, and the way that the NHL has kind of structured it out, they're saying that Struble is actually going to be the guy that takes the last spot, judging from Martin St. Louis and what went into the playoffs. Not a bad take. You have to feel like Shakaj is probably a close second there, but you have to feel like, as it is right now, Shakaj, Barron, Norlinder are just not getting any ice time whatsoever. And that's also maybe having a Matheson like on your third pairing, as we mentioned even in our live yesterday here, which is just a lot of money to be paying on your third pairing. But let's have this as an exercise, a process of elimination here. The thing about Struble is he just signed that 2-year deal, not guaranteeing he's going to be around. It's crowded. He knows that. But the analytics with Laine Hutson are very good. I think that matters. I don't know. The size is great. I don't know if he's ideal, because Hudson's a first-pairing guy. So, even though Strubal's numbers are good with him, that doesn't for sure just guarantee a spot, because he's not a first-pairing type of guy. Secondly, then you have Hage. I think that he's a little bit safer than Matheson, because I think Hage plays a role that nobody else does on the team, where Matheson, I think, potentially could slot into that third pairing. If not, you're having a first pairing, in my mind, if Caden Gull and David Savard are together of Matheson, Hudson, and for me, that's just way too much offense on a first pairing that I would have out on the ice quite a bit there. So again, with Matheson, I feel like there's just a little bit of overlap, but at the same time, Josh, he also gives us the most ammunition and kind of goodwill to get a good player in exchange that we would need for a 2C that has the most trade value coming back. So I think it's for a couple of reasons here that I think probably a Matheson trade is the most likely out of this, and I would potentially put that to happen a lot earlier than a lot of people expect. Some people are saying oh, don't trade Matheson, it's a very young decor. It's Gull's getting older now. We've got Justin Barron that can kind of take on that spot. Savard's 25. Our decor isn't that old. I think that we can still do what needs to be done without Matheson at this point. And again, we're not trying to throw shade. We know he's an amazing athlete, a great player, but just the fit right now, Josh, we're trying to wrap our minds around these pairings, and with Matheson in it, it's just kind of like a square peg in a round hole right now. Yeah, and I want to go to one specific thing that you said there that I think just probably makes this the most likely, is that in terms of the long-term vision of this team, I think Matheson, if you have him on the third pairing, he's going to be one of the best third-pairing defensemen in hockey, which is great, obviously, and he can probably make an impact down there. But in terms of the long-term future of this team, having a guy with Hage's role is important. But I think the fact that Matheson holds, I would say, by far the most trade value of those three, especially this season, on an expiring deal, especially if he can negotiate that he would extend with that team, that to me is what makes this even more likely, because like you said, trading for another forward is a priority for us right now. There are teams that maybe aren't even in the trade talks yet that would want a guy like Matheson who can eat 25 minutes a night, can play your penalty kill, can play your power play, especially if you have him, half retained at the deadline. You're retaining $2.5 million, and he's going to cost you less than $2.5 million for a guy that can play the most on your team on defense if you need him to. So it's I think that alone has so much value that it could go into a kind of trade. And that's just the simple reason. It's just simple math. Not that I don't necessarily want him next year. I know a lot of you guys don't. But at the end of the day, Hage, yeah, teams have offered first-round picks for him, and we've said no. I don't think you're going to get much more than that for a guy that's not even guaranteed that third pairing spot. Strubel, similar thing there, right? Matheson has more trade value. His play style is a little more redundant with his current decor. It just makes sense. But the front office loves him, and we'd love to hear your thoughts on this. To hear what Eric Engels had to say there. Look, something's coming. It's coming soon, and we're just going to have to wait and see. As we wrap up this episode of Habs Digest, the message is clear. The Montreal Canadiens are a team on the cusp, brimming with young talent and facing crucial decisions. The defensive logjam is real, and a trade involving Matheson, Strubel, or Hage seems not just likely, but imminent. Meanwhile, the future looks incredibly bright with prospects like Michael Hage dazzling and the tantalizing chemistry between Suzuki, Demidov, and Laine hinting at an explosive offense. The question isn't if change is coming, but when and how it will shape the Canadiens' destiny. Leave your comments down below on which one of these three defensemen you think is the most likely to get moved and when. We'd love to hear from you, your insights, and your predictions. And hey, if you enjoyed this video, if you felt that palpable excitement and urgency, please smash that like button, leave a comment, but most importantly, subscribe to the channel. You guys have been absolutely killing it with the likes and the subscriptions. Thank you so much for tuning in every single day. I'm Josh Goes, my co-host Jesse Peer, and we'll catch you in the next one.